Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here at my next Pokemon video, and this is going to be basically me talking about the latest Pokemon X and Y news, which is just one Pokemon. And I said I wouldn't do a video about just like one thing, but I really wanted to talk about this one. One, because I think it's a really cool Pokemon and I wanted to talk about it, and secondly because I'm in a Pokemon mood because my D-Art Blastoise arrived today, so I'm kind of in a Pokemon mood today, and I want to talk about this thing. So let's get into this. The new Pokemon obviously is named Honedge or Honedge. The pronunciation hasn't really come out yet, but it's Honedge. You know, Edge with the sword Pokemon, Hone, hone a sword, that sort of thing. So you can sort of see where it comes from. Interesting thing, first of all, is it's a ghost steel Pokemon, and that's an interesting typing. But before I get into really discussing it, here's two images of it. Obviously, so it kind of possibly has two types as well. But first of all, talk about that typing again. Ghost and steel. First time we've ever seen that combination, and it's definitely an interesting one because a lot of people love steel Pokemon, a lot of people love ghost Pokemon, so the two of them together, very interesting, and especially with the kind of backstory given on this thing, it's a possessed sword Pokemon, so that's awesome. People love swords, people love possessed things, a lot of good stuff going on with this thing. But that typing, I actually sat down and calculated this. It's pretty crazy good. It's immune to three things, which I think is pretty unique among any Pokemon. There's probably something that has another immunity, but anyway, immune to normal, fighting, and poison type moves, which is good. It's 2 times resistant to grass, flying, psychic, rock, ice, dragon, and steel, and it's 4 times resistant to bug, so ton of resistances. It's weak to fire and ground, so 2 times weak to fire and ground, 4 times weak to nothing, and it takes normal damage from water, electric, ghost, and dark. So basically 6 things can hit this thing reasonably well. Fire, ground, water, electric, ghost, dark, with only fire and ground, assuming it has decent defenses, really be able to do a lot of damage to it. Now, obviously looking at the thing, it's a Pokemon that you'd say, this thing's a candidate for possibly having Levitate as one of its abilities. And if it does, that just makes it even better. It takes away one of its weaknesses and makes it another immunity, because that means ground type moves won't work on it. So if it does get Levitate, 4 immunities, and it takes away one of its weaknesses, that would be brilliant if it got Levitate. I kind of tend to believe that because of that it won't get Levitate, but who knows? It'd be interesting if it did. The one move we know confirmed that this thing has is Swords Dance. Obviously, it makes sense. The sword Pokemon gets Swords Dance, and there's probably the potential that this thing maybe gets its own signature move, signature seal move. That would be pretty cool. But because it's a sword Pokemon, it's the first one, pretty interesting. Now, the possibility of this thing possibly having 2 modes or 2 forms is interesting. Obviously, there's a sheathed version and an unsheathed version, so out of its kind of holder, in its holder. Now, the easy explanation with nothing fancy is just that when the thing attacks, it animates itself out of the sheath, attacks, goes back into it, and that's just naturally what it does. The more complex thing would be that you have the choice to kind of switch it in and out. Do you go into battle with a more defensive Honedge or a more offensive Honedge? There's a lot of possibilities there, I think, depending on how they do it. More than likely, it's probably just the first thing I said, where it's just an animation thing, where to attack, it has the blade out, to defend, it doesn't. That's pretty cool, that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, this is probably my favorite of all the new Pokemon that have come out so far, because I love Steel types, and also I've never really used Ghost types that much in any of the games like playthroughs. So this is kind of fill 2 kind of things for me playing the game. I get a Steel type, which I love, and use a Ghost type for like probably one of the first times in the middle of the game. That's pretty cool to me. But yeah, there's not much else really to say. Does it? Hopefully, it looks a fairly small Pokemon. Will it evolve? I What leads me to think it won't is because it's a sword. It's a possessed sword. Like, what would that suddenly evolve? But at the same time, it looks fairly small, so it may evolve. Um, and then in terms of stats, that's obviously the thing you want to know. Like, it's a sword Pokemon, which you would assume it has high physical attack. Um, Maybe has reasonably good defense because of the sheath. But again, that all plays into, does it have a different forms and stuff like that. There's a lot of interesting stuff here. Either way, the one thing I suppose you could definitely say for sure is that it probably has a really high physical attack, and maybe surprising special attack because it's a ghost as well. So, yep, that's the video. Thanks for watching it. I'm just gonna give a quick update on my channel here at the end. I'm going to be reviewing the search part 2 tomorrow, regardless of if I can get it, the physical copy tomorrow or not, because it's not guaranteed that I'm going to get it. I have it digitally so I can actually review the content, but I just won't have a physical copy to show off, so that'll be up tomorrow, regardless of if I can get it. And obviously I'm going to review Transformers Prime episode probably on next Saturday. And that's basically the next 2 videos I have planned. There may be a core news update video that I put out tomorrow or Friday. It depends on if something else breaks, because there's just one little thing that I want to mention. But anyway, that's it. That's the whole video. Thanks for watching, and bye.